Hello everyone, this is Josef Neutsch here, and in this video and actually in the entire playlist, my Linux Pro playlist, I would like to introduce you into Linux. And what you see here is the graphical user interface, the so-called GUI of Ubuntu 18.04. I will use that Linux distribution as an example. There are a lot of different distributions of Linux, and here you can just click along, just start clicking, and then as you see you have a Firefox, you have a for internet, you have a for mail program, you have LibreOffice for Office, you can watch YouTube, you can even stream Netflix if you want. You can do 95% of the things that you would do also in Windows. But most probably you did not search for this video because you want to check out the graphical user interface in Linux. You want to check out the so-called command line interface, which is called terminal in Ubuntu. And this is what I'm going to do in this and also all the subsequent videos in this Linux Pro playlist. So in this video we will take a look at file handling, how you can change directory, how you can list the files, and so on. We will come to that soon, and in subsequent videos I will show you how you can start programs, how you can stop processes, especially if you program something and then it crashes, or you take a program from someone else and it crashes, how you can stop those programs, how you can change your password, for example, what the file system of Linux looks like, and how you can search for files, and also how you can search for text in files, and also how you can modify text files. And then how you can compress and extract large files. And then I will also show you how you can then open up text files, which is important for programming, and modify them manually. Let's just start with the first goal, and as you see here, this is the list of the commands I want to handle at the beginning. This is cd, which then changes the directory, then we will list the files in a directory, then we will create a directory, we will copy files and then move them, we will remove files and directories, we will create new empty files, which might make sense in some cases. Then we will also print out the working directory where we are currently located, and then how we can clear the terminal so we don't see all the commands, and then how we can close the terminal. Okay, so very simple, and I think the Linux command line interface is very similar to cooking. If you know what you're doing, then it's very simple, and if you don't have any idea, then it's difficult. And I know that a lot of people are afraid of the command line interface, but you don't be afraid. I will explain you what you do, and then it is very, very simple. And also I will insert the list of commands into the description below, so you can just copy these commands out and then print them, and then you have a cheat sheet on the side if you are now starting to program or need Linux for whatever reason. Okay, so let's just jump in. Okay, so we now are sitting here in front of the graphical user interface of Ubuntu, and what I will now do, here you see that there is a kind of Explorer. It's not called Explorer in Ubuntu, but this is what you know and love from Windows. So I will show it to you here on the right hand side what's happening, and I will show everything here in documents, as you see, I already created a directory and the file, and then in the directory a second file, and then I will show you how you can, what I am just doing, just click into and then go outside, then list what kind of directories and files we have in subdirectories, in documents, and this is what I want to show you. So now to open up the terminal, you have to now press Ctrl+Alt+D. Okay, and now you have a terminal opened. And I would advise you to click here with the right mouse button and add to favorites. Yes. And now, because if I close it, then you see, then this remains here on the left hand side, and you can just click here. So now let's make this bigger. Yes, so now let us start. So when you open up your terminal, you are automatically in your home directory. But we will come to the Linux file system a little bit later. And now if I type in ls, which is list of the files, then you see here the list of the files, which you also see here on the right hand side. Okay, so now if I want to go into the documents folder and see what is inside documents, now I type in cd and then space and then the documents. Okay, and enter. And now if I type ls, so list, now I see exactly that I have a directory 1 and a file 1, txt, and this file 1 contains a short line, a short text line, and nothing else. Okay, so this is what we have here. And then if I go into directory, I could not type in directory 1, but if I now press the tab, then it will automatically fill in the name of the directory. So if I press enter, and now I will type in ls again, and as you see, there is a file 2. Okay, so nothing special. Now what if I want to just go out of directory 1 again to the documents? Now I have to type in cd ... And now, as you see, we are again in documents. Okay, so let me just go back, directory 1, and now you can also automatically jump 2 levels by typing in cd ... So this would be cd ... enter, cd ... enter, and now we are in our home, so not in dictionary 1, but here. So we just jumped 2 levels. Okay, and then another so if I type in documents and directory, then I can automatically change in that subdirectory. So you don't have to type in cd documents and enter, cd directory 1, enter. If you have a lot of levels of directories, you can just type in the path. Okay, and if you type in just cd without anything else, you will automatically always go back to your home directory. Okay, so this is how you navigate in the Linux amongst your Linux files. So I want to go back into documents, and now I want to show you how to create a folder. Most probably I know that you would prefer here and then just go to new folder like you would do it in Windows, but it is perfectly okay to do that at the beginning because it's more natural for you if you're coming from the Windows world. But now if you want to do it in the terminal, you would use the command mkdir, which is make directory, and then you type in the name, so directory 2, and press enter, and you see here on the right hand side directory 2 appeared, and there's nothing inside. Of course, folder is empty. And if I now, for example, type in directory 2 then nothing comes out because it's empty. And I want to already start with a very handy thing. If the star, this, if I type in ls and dir and then press tab, then there is it filled in until directory, because it doesn't know do you mean 1 or 2. And if you press tab, so double tab, then it gives you the possibilities. Now I want to list both of them, so I press the star, and now with this it outputs the lists in all the directories. So if we had 50 directories, it would list the files in all the 50 directories. So which is very handy. You don't have to type in everything one by one. And now you see that here you would have to click yourself through in 50 directories to, for example, look for a file. And with this, you have all the information at once. Good. So now this is with the mkdir command, you can create a directory. Now let's copy things. Okay. So now you can copy with the command cp, copy, and then the file which you want to copy. And here also the tab works. And I want to copy, for example, this into directory 2. Okay, and if I check this out, you see that there is a file 2. But it's not just the same thing like copy and then paste. It's not... not the same, because what we can do, for example, we can do the same. So cp file 1 and then directory 1 in this case, slash, and then type in a new name. So for example, file 44.txt and press enter. And now you see that there are two files, and file 44 has the same input in it than file 1 had, but it has a different name. So it is a very handy tool. You don't have to copy and paste and then rename. You can do this with one command. And for example, if I just go into directory 2, here we have file 1. And what if I want to copy now file 1 from directory 2 into directory 1? You can do this with cp file 1 and then ... slash. So we go up into the documents with this ... and then we go into directory 1. And now I can type in directory 1 and then press enter, and you see there we have a file 1 now, which we just copied from directory 2. Okay, so now if I want to do this again, then name the file, for example, file 33, then I can just type in the same thing, or just press the cursor key up, and then you have the latest command. And then you can also, by pressing up or down, you can browse through your commands. Okay, so now, for example, if I want to copy file 1, then I can do this and then call it file 33, enter, and you see that there we have now again file 33. Very good. So this is now a file. What if I want to copy entire directories? Okay, so if I just type in cp directory 1 and then I call it directory 34, or what? Let's just call it directory 3. Then we have an error message. But the error message says -r not specified, omitting directory, because you don't copy it like you would copy a file. You have to enter. Okay, what am I doing? So I'm pressing up here and then left. Then you can move back in the command and then type in -r. And now if I press this then and I go here out, now you see we have directory 3 with all the files which we had in directory 1. Okay, so did you understand this? So what I did, I pressed up of my cursor keys, and then you can move along in the command and then modify it. So we could now just create directory 3. And now we also have a directory 3 folder here. Okay, so very easy. Then another command which you should be careful with is mv. This is move. And moving is not just moving but also renaming. So for example, if I type in mv and then this directory 3 folder, so the latest one, and I move it into directory 1. Okay, so mv directory 3 into directory 1, I press enter, and this moves this folder into directory 1, as you see here. Okay, so this moved it here, but this can also be used to rename files. So if I want to rename directory 2 into directory 22, this can be done like this. So this moves directory 2 into the same folder where it already is, which is documents, and calls it directory 22. As you see, now we just renamed it and did nothing else. Okay, so this is the mv, the command, the moving the files and also renaming files. Now what if I want to delete something? I want to delete directory 22. Now for that, I want to delete at first file 1 here in documents, so this file. So this is what you would do here. Where is it? How can I? Oh, you cannot even delete it here. Okay, so if I press here delete, then it will delete. But now we want to do it in the terminal. So rm and then file 1. If I press enter, then it will be deleted. It will not be moved into the trash. So be very, very careful with this rm command. Linux will not ask you, like Windows does, whether you're sure or not. Whether you are sure if you want to delete this file, it will just delete it forever and you cannot recover it. So if by pressing here rm file1.txt, it is removed forever and ever. So goodbye file1.txt. So what if I want to now delete directories? If I type in rm and directory 22, we will get a similar error like here with copy. So what we have to do is rm -r, so recursively everything. We want to delete the directory and everything that's what's inside. And now we can type in directory 22. And now this deletes directory 22. So what if I want to delete this directory 3 in directory 1? And I don't want to go into directory 1. We can just type in the path. So we're typing in rm -1 directory 1 and then directory 3. We can just type in the path, press enter, and it does not delete directory 1, but the folder inside directory 1. And you can also do this with files. So for example, if I go up and then just delete directory 1 and then type in file, for example, 44.txt, you see, we lost file 44. Okay, so now how you can create very easily new files with the command touch. For example, I don't my new file.txt, but it doesn't have to be txt, it can be anything. Blah.blah. So as you see here, now we have a my new file.blah, which is a text file and there's nothing inside. this text file. And this touch my new file.blah, this touch file is also good to create, so it's good to create a new text file. But what is also more important, if I go into directory 1, for example, and I touch file 1, it will change the time output or a timestamp of that file. So how can we check this? For example, this is what I mean, the properties. So file 3 was modified, this type was accessed and modified at 35 and 46. And now let's take a look at this. Now, as you see, the access and modification was changed. Okay, if you don't believe me, so it's 5212, and if I execute this again and then go here, you see it's now 5249. So it just changes the time step. Okay, so how can you now take a look at the file size and also the time step in the terminal? This is very similar to the ls command. You can just type in ls and then -lt. And as you see here now, you see the timestamp. No, timestamp. This is what I mean. And so it is 51 bytes big. And as you see here, it also says 51 bytes. And file 2 has 58 bytes because it's a bit different. And 58 bytes. Why? Because there I have more text into it. This is a second text file. Okay, so ls-lt, and in some Linux distribution also ll-t works, and this also puts out the size and the timestamp, and also puts out what's the folder and then the folder above. Okay, so these are the two commands, ls-lt, to show all the files with the sizes and the timestamps, and the ll-t does more or less the same, and also the writes of the file. Good, so now this was touch and ls and ll. If I now type in pvd, this is print working directory. This just prints out the working directory, which is my home, and then, as of course, documents and directory 1. And then we will come to this part in a later video. Okay, so now we have a lot of crap going on here in the terminal. So if I want to get rid of it, I just type in clear, and then everything disappeared. But not really. If you want to look at the commands, you can just scroll upwards and it will come back to you. Okay, so this just moves everything up. Clear. Okay, so now this is the last thing that I want to show you, how you can exit the terminal. I mean, you can click here the X, but if you're working on a server, you don't have you don't have a graphical user interface, and you want to exit on a terminal on a server, you can type in, of course, exit. Okay, or you can also press Ctrl and D, and this also closes the terminal. Okay, so these were the commands I wanted to show you in the first video. In the second video, we will learn how you can stop applications, executable files, for example, if they die or crash. Okay, so I hope that you like this video and that you will watch all the videos, so you can become a Linux Pro within a couple of videos, so in a couple of minutes or 1.5 hours, hopefully. And I hope that you really liked this playlist and that you learned at least something in some of the videos. If you really like it, then please like the videos and share them. I would like to thank you for watching.